21 Capital is Tether's way of getting inside of the US equity markets, and it's going to be significant for Tether, SoftBank, Cantor Fitzgerald, Jack Mallers, everyone involved, and every Bitcoin holder. This story is massive in my opinion. My name's Forrest Hodel. I'm on X and Nostr, and I'm a Bitcoin educator and coach. If you want to book me for a one-on-one for any of your Bitcoin security needs, best practices, questions, and all that, you can do so in the link in the description. This tweet by Adam Livingston caught my attention. I wanted to read it out and talk a little bit about how significant I think this 21 Capital story is. Not just the acquiring of Bitcoin, but really what it means down the road and how big of a deal it is that Tether is involved in this. Here we go with the tweet. So Tether, SoftBank, and Cantor Fitzgerald are forming 21 Capital with CEO Jack Mallers. Let's be real. This is a corporate exoskeleton for Tether's global liquidity machine to operate inside US equity markets and hoard the scarcest asset on earth without regulatory speed bumps. So for those of you who don't know, Tether is outside of the US. They're the largest stablecoin issuer. They're an incredibly profitable business. They have, I believe, a stack of around 100,000 Bitcoin. Part of that will be transferred over to gain ownership of this new equity company, which is 21 Capital. And they're able to just create a ton of money by operating this stablecoin profitably. Adam continues here. It's like giving a cartel diplomatic immunity, then asking it to do quarterly earnings calls. SoftBank didn't join for fun. They saw MSTR mint a 2,000% return on Bitcoin purchases and said, cool, now let's do it for ourselves. This company is launching with $585 million in PIPE investing. PIPE, I believe, stands for private investment through public equity. $385 million of it in convertible notes backed by Bitcoin at a 3-to-1 collateral ratio. That's financial LSD for every structuring desk on the street. The moment BTC rips, they release collateral, unlocking capital, and buy more. Recursive Bitcoin compounding inside a public vehicle. This is Sailor with a global stablecoin treasury, a high-frequency derivatives desk, and a Tokyo war chest. Sailor started buying Bitcoin when their company was worth roughly around $1 billion. They had quite a lot of cash. I think it was around 500 million if my memory serves me well here. That is a different story. That is a different entrant than this company that is entering. Tether has so much money. They have so much ability to create more money. They have so much Bitcoin, and they can get involved in this equity, which can expose people to Bitcoin, and they can take advantage of the capital that provides them with investors being interested in this stock. They'll be able to issue new shares when they trade at a premium to their Bitcoin holdings. They'll be able to issue corporate debt, convertible bonds, different types of debt instruments or equity instruments, all sorts of different things, and use that cash to buy Bitcoin. And they have an investor like Tether behind them that if they issue more equity and there isn't as much interest, they could buy those shares on the open market and acquire more ownership. They're diluting themselves when they issue that, but they could remain undiluted by continuing to buy in and using the capital from their business, their business Tether and USDT, to buy more equity in their own company and prop up the stock price even further. There might be some rules and restrictions based on buying like that because they're already such a majority shareholder and all of that, but there is a lot of cash on the sidelines potentially. A high frequency derivatives desk. This is Bitfinex has all the trading instruments. They have so much information about all of this. And a Tokyo war chest. This is SoftBank. SoftBank is looking to invest in high growth opportunities around the world. They need to put capital to work, and this is something they obviously do not want to miss out on. So continuing here, they literally measure success in Bitcoin per share, BPS, and Bitcoin rate of return, BRR, not fiat cash flow, not EBITDA, not shareholder yield, Bitcoin per share. That's the KPI, that's the religion. religion. And here's the kicker. Tether will own majority control. That's like OPEC launching a public oil ETF that owns half the oil and pricing it at a NAV. That's an interesting comparison. I mean, Tether doesn't own half the Bitcoin. It owns a profitable stablecoin business. Not sure 100% how that connects and correlates. Maybe somebody else can weigh in the comment section if you think that maybe I'm interpreting that incorrectly. But that's an interesting analogy for sure. And Wall Street's fine with this. Why? Because the fees are good, the volatility is tradable, and the suckers at home still think we're early. The fees are good. Counter Fitzgerald is going to make a lot through issuing the SPAC and being in partnership with them. The volatility is tradable. In my opinion, the low float pre-SPAC merge price action of CEP is totally a lot of trader driven. A lot of it is people buying and selling with really low volatility, really high volatility, really low liquidity. And the suckers at home still think we're early. So in my opinion, we are still early in a lot of ways, but we are not early in the way of this becoming financialized and these black holes of capital appearing that suck in Bitcoin and keep it. So this is we've been able to front run Wall Street. We still can front run them to some degree, but this is serious. This is really like the time is running out, in my opinion. Like, depending on how successful this is, and with everything that Adam's pointing out here, you can see that they are really primed for success. They have a lot of ability to acquire Bitcoin and to be successful with this strategy. So Wall Street is showing up. And Adam actually puts it really well here, so let's continue. This isn't the institutional adoption phase anymore. This is the corporatized colonization of the Bitcoin protocol executed through a Cayman shell and priced in your grandchildren's tears. You're not front-running Wall Street anymore. You're being you're being front-fed the illusion that you are. And the price? You'll watch it go vertical while CNBC blames inflation and 7 sovereign ETFs pretending they understand what just happened. Bitcoin's next leg up won't be demand driven. It will be capital structured, engineered, manufactured, and monetized. Mega corporations are now turning Bitcoin into the new global collateral standard and selling you the derivative. Welcome to the great absorption. Hope you brought a chart. You are buying a derivative anytime you buy any of these. It's not Bitcoin that you're holding. You can't redeem these shares for Bitcoin. You are financing their ability to buy Bitcoin. You might benefit it from that in a fiat way. You might see your prices of the shares appreciate over time. They might even outperform Bitcoin. But if you never turn that back into Bitcoin, you're going to really not benefit from the scarcity of Bitcoin in a specific way of self-sovereign ownership. So that's really what this comes down to in my eyes. This is how Bitcoin can become potentially co-opted. I don't have a strong fear of that, but we can see that there's a potential future where it's just a bunch of corporations that own all of the Bitcoin. And we just trade these instruments and think there's value behind it. Now, in my opinion, the value of Bitcoin, if that was really true, would go down, and they actually don't have an incentive to allow that to happen. There needs to be value in actual Bitcoin itself, because that's all they have is Bitcoin. So I don't see that as actually happening, but I see that as maybe what Adam is pointing out here as a potential, and you'll be sold the derivative instead of the actual thing by buying into these financial products. It's always been my opinion, I've shared this multiple times, that if you have money, if you have fiat in the financial system in registered accounts and things like that, then what are your options, right? What are your options? They're going to be either Bitcoin ETFs or Bitcoin derivatives or companies that acquire Bitcoin. Now, you can decide which one of those is right for you, but those all are exposing you in fiat terms to Bitcoin to some degree. And any money outside of that system, I always put towards Bitcoin itself in cold storage. So that's what I do. It's all up to you guys about that. I wouldn't be selling any Bitcoin to be buying this thing. I see this as inevitable. I see this as taking a huge amount of Bitcoin out of circulation. I see it as becoming a successful company. Does that mean all the shareholders are going to benefit from it? I think over the long run, probably. Will it outperform Bitcoin? Maybe. We don't know. There's still a ton of unknowns, and I'm actually making a video about all of the unknowns about 21, which are plentiful. So thank you, Adam, for writing this tweet. I will post it in the description. It's a really interesting one. This guy's actually got some really interesting signal here. He posts quite good tweet threads, I've noticed. And yeah, if you guys are interested in getting yourself some Bitcoin, I recommend Bitcoin Well. They're a non-custodial exchange, which means when you send them fiat, they send you Bitcoin directly to cold storage. It's the best way to buy Bitcoin in self-custody. If you use my link, you'll actually get some free Bitcoin on sign up. And if you need to preserve your seed phrase for generations to come, which you do, I would recommend checking out Stampseed kit. They have a titanium seed plate kit, which is basically, as far as we need, indestructible. And you can use my code BTC-NotCrypto15 for 15% off of that. If you want to book me for a coaching session, link in the description for that as well. And if you need a hardware wallet, you can check out my link for 5% off of the Bitbox, which is a pretty decent hardware wallet out there. There's lots of good options, but that's just one that I have a coupon code for. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you in the comments. We'll see you in the next video of Bitcoin, not crypto.